And hello, this is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and I'm glad that you have joined me today. I tell you, yesterday I was getting pissed off. I was going through Instagram, and I was looking at all these things that pop up. You know, all these pop ups that want to sell you something, point you in a different direction. I was getting bombarded all of a sudden with people who are trying to sell free internet service for certain ages, and for the older people in the country. And there was one right after another, after another, after another. So I started clicking on them, and where it took me, it did not take me to any free stuff at all. What it took me to was T-Mobile, Spectrum, those other not countries, but those other companies out there who sell internet provider services. I didn't see anything free. So I complained. I complained to Instagram. The response back was they're living within the terms of Instagram. But and then also what I saw were cards, and it was saying people from ages such and such can get almost free cars. Almost. The key word was almost. Did it take me to any almost free cars? No. Where it took me to was the Nissan dealer selling me a $60,000 or $30,000 car. Nothing was free. Not a single thing. It didn't even point me to anything free, because I went back and checked to make sure if I touched the right buttons, and I did. So I started touching all the buttons just to see where it would take me. It took me to the exact same place, or to a different dealership. So it's very frustrating, because a lot of people, once you punch one of those buttons, all of a sudden you just get bombarded with all of these ads, especially on this free internet service. Now, the only reason I looked at internet service is because T-Mobile had a Wi-Fi a portable Wi-Fi that you can take with you. And I need one of those, because when I'm out traveling and visiting with clients, I need to have that type of service. However, it never pointed me to any free stuff, and it never pointed me to any good stuff. It just pointed me to stuff where I could sign up for all these services with all of these providers. So, I don't know if you would call it bad advertising or sneaky advertising. I call it sneaky advertising, because it's not pointing you. If you are a 65-year-old person and you think that you're going to get free internet service because the ad says the government is going to give it to you, never takes you there, never goes there. And so it must be frustrating for people looking at that, saying, well, where's the free stuff? There is no free stuff. The only free stuff is when a politician wants to give you something free, and then once they say it's free, it ends up costing you. Well, the same thing with Instagram and their ads. What I'm finding is that they're very annoying, and they don't point you to the stuff that they say that they're talking about. Especially on these cars, they all have these ad one after another of how all of these automobile dealers have too much inventory, so they're practically giving the cars away to the elderly population of our country. But they're not doing it. I'm telling you, they're not doing it, because I have punched every single button on here and I didn't see one single free thing come up. Never. So we need to do something, or not us, Instagram and also Facebook. They need to do something about those ads, because they're not that truthful. They just are not truthful. And they're not pointing you to anything that's beneficial to you. So it's worthless. It really is worthless. Now, the other thing that kind of upset me yesterday was that I saw a lot of people videotaping how they're living in cars, how they cannot afford to live in an apartment anymore. I feel them. I feel them. Because since I've been in California, I have been looking at apartments. You can get a 300 square foot studio apartment here for $1,800. Or you can rent a room in somebody's house and have to share a bathroom for $1,800. And it goes up. It goes up from there, depending on where you're at in California or what community you want to be in. But we are seeing a lot more people talking about their financial conditions, especially in Canada. One guy showed he bought three things, and it was $89 for him. He says he can't live this way any longer because it's just too costly, It's an amazing world that we're living in at the moment in this country of the United States, and also our friends up in Canada, where the government says everything is going grand in the economy, but when you really live within the economy of inflation, when it comes to food and other items, it's not a grand world. Even for myself, when I go to the grocery store to buy food, I get very little for 80 some dollars. Sometimes up to $100 and some dollars. I get very little that lasts me. Because once you've bought stuff that you need and that you know that you can eat and that you can make it last just a little bit longer, the dollar amounts are just so absorbent that it hurts individual Americans out there. Well, it hurts me in my pocketbook, I tell you. Because I work hard for my clients to make money, and then I don't have really enough to be able to survive. And you see these people telling their stories of how they are literally giving up stuff not to be able to, just to be able to survive. And the key word for a lot of Americans now is survival. We are trying to survive. I know I'm trying to survive. I've never been in this situation before. And it truly amazes me at how our economy has gotten so bad that individuals in the country are literally thinking about living in their cars just to be able to survive, to be able to eat. And they work around in the system of car dwellers so they know where they can park, where they can get food, where they can take a shower, they are literally driving around the state of California here, parking at a different place each night. Now, there are some cities who have parking lots just for those living in their cars, and they're safe parking lots. But can you imagine us thinking about this in a country that has been so great to us in the past, but now that we are in this inflationary time, and it's going to last quite a while, get used to it, that individuals are no longer able to live in a house of their own, to be able to buy a home, to be able to even think about purchasing a home. And some are unable to even think about going out there and renting something to live in. We are living in a bad economy at the moment. So when politicians come to us and they say, oh, the economy is doing great, it's wonderful, it's marvelous. No, it's not. It's not. But on the other hand, I see a lot of people helping hands and trying to help other people out there who need help. And those individuals I appreciate greatly, because they're willing to give up a little of their hurt to give to somebody else so that they can be able to survive. And every one of us should be very thankful for that. We live in a great country. But right now, we have the wrong people in the wrong positions who do not know what they're doing. And they're destroying a great country. Especially here in California. I cannot believe, like, here in California, I mean, they're looking at raising taxes again. Look at New York. In order to be able to commute into the city of New York, you have to pay another tax, a commuter tax, or whatever name they call it. So if you work inside the city of Manhattan, you now have to pay an entrance fee, which is called a tax. These governments, once they begin collecting taxes, they get money hungry. And politics becomes a power hunger for them. And once they get that in their blood, they don't want to give it up, and they don't want to lose their taxation ability. So we see all of these individuals, not individuals, but all of these communities out there thinking of a way of how they can tax us more. And they don't understand that that is part of inflation. The more that they tax, the higher the inflation rate goes up. Nothing is free in this country. And we have to work hard for what we do. But we have to make sure that we are able to maintain ourselves with the necessities to be able to survive. We hear these stories every single day. If you look at TikTok, if you look at Instagram and Facebook, you see all of these pictures. I often thought maybe I need to go down to the camping store and buy myself a tent to make sure that I have one in the back of my car just in case something happens financially. It's amazing. It's an amazing country we live in. But we'll make it. Why? Because we're tough Americans. We have grit. And we know that we can take control of this country again. We can do it again. Now we have members of Congress, and one who is running for the United States Senate here in California, who wants to raise the minimum wage to $50. On April 1st, a few more days from now here in California, our minimum wage for restaurant workers goes up to $20 an hour. So we are seeing a surge in inflation once again, where I wrote an article the other day that Californians are going back to the humble peanut butter sandwich because that's all about what we can afford. It's a something. I have never seen it this way before. And I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm going to continue on with my business. I'm going to continue on helping people. I'm going to try to resolve issues for small businesses and family. I'm going to try to do it as much as I can. Because I believe in this nation. I believe in the state of California that we can literally turn California around. But we need to vote out these individuals who are fools and are foolish with our taxpayer money. Okay, that's it for now. I almost lost my dog yesterday. Skippy got out. He went out. He found a gate that was open and he went out. I went around. I can't yell his name because he's deaf. So I couldn't go around saying, "Hey, Skippy, Skippy." I couldn't do it. So I was going down the street clapping my hands because he can hear a hand clap, but he can't hear my voice. I'm sure people were saying, "What in the world is wrong with that old man going down and clapping in front of our house?" Talk with you soon. This is Mike Lodge. Bye-bye.